Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that to episode 2 of my video diaries, where I talked about how I first started coming back to Beach Ridge, how I fell in love with the track and short track racing, how my friendship with Charlie began, and basically how it's led us to where we are today, being the primary sponsor of his car, and working closely with the Sam Enterprises team. And that's obviously a huge part of chasing a checkered, getting the word out, kind of becoming more involved is sponsorships. But as many of you know, Charlie is not the only car that you'll see me on at Beach Ridge and other tracks. I do sponsor a couple other drivers, a few race cars. I wanted to make a video kind of talking about some of these drivers, why I sponsor them, my involvement of them, and kind of where the future lies with this team. Plans are for 2019. So I am the primary sponsor of Charlie. That's why you'll see me probably talking on chasing a checkered. It's not that I don't fully support the other drivers. It's just that that's where the money, a lot of the focus lies because that's where my biggest investment is put into. But like I said, that doesn't mean that it's like I'm putting these other drivers to the back burner. It's just where the focus is financially, but obviously I sponsor other drivers and I'm really proud of the other drivers that I sponsor. Um, so I think the biggest sponsor that I have besides Charlie is a young kid who happens to be, I call him like my adopted little brother. His name is Zach Nicholson. He started racing out at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway. And I think I met him, I think it was his first full-time season at Beach Ridge, um, but his like second year racing, I believe. And that's Zach Nicholson. Um, and he's such a good kid. Um, I met him through, I don't even know how it came about actually. I think I just heard rumblings of like there's this really young kid, he's super talented. You should do an interview with him. Um, and you know what, that's when I back when driver features were a big thing on Chasing a Checkered. I mean, they still are. I just don't have as much time for them as I did at one point with all my race recaps. But I approached him, I believe, on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, I've heard great things about you. I had weeks out there on the racetrack, and I just 15-year-old kid racing against the big dogs and kind of beating them, kind of being in the top 5 every week, very consistent." um, and I approached him on Facebook and I was like, I would love to do a driver feature with you. um, he was like, yeah, of course, that sounds great. So one of the first weeks of the season last season, I met him after a race at his pit box, and I met his entire family goes to support him at the racetrack. So I believe like I met his mom, Angela, his dad, John, some of his family members, and I thought that was really cool that he had a whole team of people behind him. So we did our interview. I did a driver feature on them, and I just remember his family being super supportive from the start, very welcoming to me when I came to visit them. Just very encouraging about everything I was doing with Chasing the Checkered, and I thought that was awesome. And from then, I think like we just became friends. I visited him the week after to see what he thought about the feature. We talked. His family gave me food, and then just like from then on, like I just went and visited them in the pits every week, and um, started like a friendship. And he became like my little brother. Like we were so close last season, and it was really cool. Um, and they put 2 of my stickers on their car last season. Um, and his family's just awesome. Do my media stuff at New Hampshire, both races. They housed me at their house in New Hampshire, and that was awesome. And they really became a part of my racing family. And last year was just the beginning for us. After last year, he won his last race, which was so incredible to see. Probably shed a few tears because I was just so excited for that entire team, so excited for Zach. I was just like, I just want more involvement with this team in 2018. So after the season was over, I approached Angela, who's Zach's mom, and I said, I want more involvement with the team next year. I'd like to work out a sponsorship deal. And I'd love to be on your race car because I knew that he was graduating from being in a Wildcat series, starting something completely new, competing what would be the equivalent of the sports series division at Beach Ridge, at Lee Motor Speedway, closer to their home, um, allowed them to have like more of a family base at the racetrack. And, I was really happy for the kid going from a wildcat to a late model sportsman. And I was so on board with the idea. Um, I jumped on board as a sponsorship. I was on both sides of his car this season. He had an incredible rookie year. No wins in a division, but he came close a couple of times. It's just really hard, especially for anyone to at any age to jump from one division to another. It's a huge shock. There's a lot of differences. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and he kind of took it in stride. There were some troubles throughout the season, but he overcame them, and he always overcomes them with grace. I don't think he ever lets anybody get to him. And even bad things happen on a track, he just finds a way to, kind of like shrug it off, move on, pull his bootstraps up, and just like keep going. So that's really cool. It was a good season with that team. It was really cool just seeing him make strides in that division. He finished 6th in points, won Rookie of the Year in the division, Most Improved Driver, which he did. We saw major improvements with him over the course. That was really cool to see. And I'm excited to announce that, yes, I will be on board with the Nicholson Racing team again in 2019. It'll be exciting to see what the follow-up year brings for Zach and his entire team. He's building a new race car, which he is super excited about, always shares with me, which I find it great that, he kind of welcomes me into that part of his life during the off season. And I'm just excited for him, and I'm excited to be on board with the team again next season. So that's exciting. So that'll be another sponsorship in 2019. Another driver that I sponsored this season that I am jumping on board again with in 2019 is Nick Calvert, a Thursday night driver at Beach Ridge. Won the JV trucks, I believe, in 2017 at Beach Ridge. And then he's another driver that dominated Truck Series, won a championship, and then he decided to move on to something completely different and move into a Legends car this past season. And he kind of like held his own out there, something very, very, very vastly different from the the truck division that he raced in. And he did a really good job for his first rookie season out. Just like a small group of guys on his team that love racing and love helping him out. And I love that, and I love being involved in that. And it was really cool car this past season in 2018. It's always been one of my favorite divisions at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway. I just love like little cars and love the way they zip around a track. And I've always wanted to be involved with a car in that division. And I thought it was really cool to be on Nick's car. And yeah, we're gonna do it again in 2019. Just really supportive of people trying something new and just kind of putting it all out there and giving. So I'll be back on board with Nick in 2019. And then another big supporter is Kurt Gary and Gary Motorsports. Kurt Gary, obviously our 2018 Pro Series champion at Beach Ridge. Also a 2016 Track Series Pro Series champion at Beach Ridge. And our 2017 Oxford 250 champion. Such an incredible team. I've been blessed and very grateful to get to know the entire team over the past 2 seasons. Jason Thompson, Kurt's spotter, has always been really supportive of Chasing the Checkered, sharing all our that I write, and just or buying t-shirts and just being really supportive of the website as a whole. Same thing with his son Ryan, his wife Stephanie. They're all really, really cool. Obviously Kurt is such a good guy. He's just a wheelman. There's no way around it. Dominates the Pro Series, the Pro All-Star Series at Oxford. And he can just drive it anywhere. He went to Seekonk. I think like last month, drove his car through the field of cars and finished like 4th, I believe. He could just wheel his car. He can kind of have troubles during a heat race and then come back and make his way through the field. It's just incredible watching him. He always finds his way to overcome like a huge deficit in the field to finish top 5 or maybe even win sometimes. And I just love watching him drive. And and it's just like a homegrown team. They don't have the huge budget that a lot of Pro Series teams have, but he proves that, money isn't everything. I know money is like a huge component of our sport, but he kind of proves that you don't have to have all the money in the world to go out there and win races and be successful. And like I said, I love everyone on his team, from Jason to Kurt's dad, Gramps, Gary. Um, he's always like offering me a hug, like when they see me in the pits, like offering me to hang out with them when I'm at a racetrack alone. All of them on that team love Amber, my little sister. Curtis Gary, Kurt's son, one of my very, very, very good friends. Always cool hanging out with him at the track. He's kind of like the tire guru for that team. Like I said, it's just like a really great group of people. I was on our car this year, and they were always, very, very supportive, sharing any stories that I wrote up on Chasing the Checkered on the team, and of course, just any of my race recaps in general. Just a really great team. Shows me a lot of support, and you know what? I love that team, and I show them a lot of support in return. So it's been a blast being involved with that team, and I can't wait to see where that team goes in 2019. Might be some changes. I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure I'll know sooner rather than later. And I'd love to be on board with them again in 2019, and I'm sure it'll happen. There's a great partnership there too, which I am really proud of. And then there is something big happening in 2019 for Chasing the Checkered. A lot of people know that Beach Ridge is obviously my home, the track that I love, the track that I do put the most focus on because that's where I do my weekly race recaps. This past season, I started doing weekly recaps as much as I could for Lee Speedway. It's kind of a little bit harder because Lee's further. I work on Friday nights, so it's a little bit harder to get there. Just really, really long days, but I try my best to do as many full race recaps as I could for that track. I've just really been trying to get involved in more tracks than just Beach Ridge over the past year. And this past year, I found a love. Well, I knew I had loved this track. I had never gone up there too many times before this past season, just because it is quite a trek from where I live. But that is Wiscasset. And the show, mainly Motorsports TV, we did a roundtable discussion with some drivers and past champions from Wiscasset at the Portland race car show this past year. And that's where I met Logan Melcher, who it was his first season this past season in the sportsman division at Bassett, moving up from a Thunder 4 to that division. So like I said, I like kind of following drivers that kind of are making moves in different divisions, trying something new. And Logan is actually a fellow Joey Logano fan, and us Joey Logano fans, there's a lot of haters, so we have to stick together. So I kind of followed Logan's, kind of adventures in his first season in the series. Did well. It was a trying season at some points, but you know what? Like, put his best efforts into the team. And like I said, I just think it's really cool that someone wants to try something new, and wants to, go big. So even though I wasn't able to attend many races at Wiscasset, I think I was able to see Logan race the week that we did our mainly motorsports like fundraiser at the track. And I was just like, I think it was after that night where I was like, you know what? I want to be involved with this team in 2019. So I contacted Logan, told him about my ideas to sponsor a team next season, and you know what? It's a deal. So in addition to the drivers that I already sponsor, so Charlie, of course, Zach Nicholson, Nick Calvert, Kurt Gary, we are adding Logan to the roster in 2019, which will be exciting. There's only one driver at Wiscasset prior to this upcoming season that I have a sticker on one of their cars, and that is Neil Evans. Neil is awesome. Another, like low budget team doing everything that they can, to just make it to the racetrack every week and go out there and compete. And Logan actually coincidentally works with Neil and his team on the weekends where he's not racing. So that's another great team. I was on Neil's. Neil will forever be the first car at Wiscasset that has a sticker on. Um, and I'm sure we'll have a sticker on his car again in 2019, which will be really exciting. But I just love the track. I love the track staff there. Ken is really cool. Met Ken through Mainly Motorsports. And he's just a really great dude. The track owners over there, the Jordans, do incredible things for the fans, put their best efforts into making that track the best it can be, and really care about not only the fans but the competitors as well. And I think that's really cool. I do love that track. I love visiting Wiscasset, like I said, just because of the say they race on the same day as Beach Ridge, so it's not exactly easy for me to get there every weekend. But I am really excited to be involved with the car there in 2019. And I can't wait to see how Logan does. He's been talking to me about some of his plans of what the car is going to look like, kind of what his plans are for next season. So I'm really excited to be involved with that team. Um, and then obviously, like Chasing and Checkered, I don't really make a lot of money off of the website, but that's not what it's about. It's about getting my stories out there, sharing my stories with fans that can't be at the racetrack, and you know what, just putting out good content that people will like. So with that being said, like there are a few drivers that I officially sponsor, but there are so many drivers out there that do support me, share my stories, and I'm incredibly thankful for them. One of the biggest, talked about him a little bit in last week's episode, is Chris Case. Um, I met him at the very beginning of last season. He was one of my big supporters from the beginning. It's really hard at the beginning of the season, especially on Thursday Night Thunder with so many different divisions, to have all the right names and numbers. And I caught some flack for that at the beginning of last season. And Chris kind of popped into my messages and he was like, you know what? He said, you're doing a great thing. You're making small drivers like me feel relevant, and really making us feel good after race weekend. And it's really cool looking back and seeing the stories that you share, and seeing our races through someone else's perspective. And I was really down, down in the dumps about, kind of getting some negative feedback about, messing up some names and numbers. And that really encouraged me to, like everyone makes mistakes, like things will get better. And what you're doing is making a difference. And that kind of stuck with me. And from that day on, Chris has been one of my very, very good friends in racing. And I'm super happy to have Chasing and Checkered on his car. Super happy to be involved with his team and to see, I so happy to see his championship after overcoming everything that he did last season, to come back and win the championship this year. Coming into championship night with a deficit was amazing. So I'm excited to be on Chris's car again in 2019. Alex P, who I work with at Patriot Subaru, another person who races in the Beetlebug division, was on his car this past season, and I plan to be on his car again in 2019, which if he'll have me, which I'm sure he will. Obviously, Dan McCaig and the entire Naughty 40 racing team, all those cars on Thursday nights have my stickers on their car. Dan has a great team of people there. With Garrett over there, Steve Taylor, obviously old man Lyman McCaig, and this past year, Dan's wife, Laura, stepping behind the wheel of a race car. It's just an incredible team of people that just love racing, and are really talented and really good at racing. So it's really cool to be on their cars on Thursday nights. Derek Drown, who is the brother of Seth Drown, who's one of my best friends in racing. Seth owns the car, Derek races it. I was on his car this season. I'm excited to be on his car again next season. Who else? Joe Morris, his car is actually named Amy, which is a funny story. We like to say it's named after me, but it's actually named after Amy Lee of Evanescence, the band. But Joe's car is named Amy. And Joe is just one of those guys who loves racing. Always up there every week, consistent, like top 10 finishes. Just one hell of a driver, hell of a guy, super nice guy. And I love the support that he gives me. Joe is so cool. And Joe is such an underrated driver. And I think more people should get to know Joe Morris because he is a badass and really cool. So Joe, I plan on being on his car this season. We had a sticker on his car for a little while this season, but he had to redo some body work on his car and then it disappeared. So we'll get him another sticker for next season. Bob Darrell Wilson, Mr. BDW himself, on his Mad Bombers car. Plan on doing that again in 2019. BDW. That's another guy loves to race. Does some scrapping in the off season. Kind of like real main boy there, Bob Darrell Wilson. Really cool. He's always been supportive of Chasing the Checkers, so we'll have another sticker on his car in 2019. Who else we got? Lovejoys, they'll race anything, anywhere. I think we might have had a sticker on Max's car this past season. I believe we did. You know what? They can race anything. I was on Tom Lovejoy's car again. In 2018. Maybe we'll do it again in 2019. Just a family. They just love to race. They can race anything. They're all wheel men. They know how to drive. So that team's really great. Has given me a lot of support. Betty Nelson, of course, races on Thursday nights. Gave her a sticker for her car this season. Plan on doing it again next season. Think she's a great woman, a great family woman, does a lot of good stuff for the community. And she's just a badass. Betty is so cool. So we'll probably be on her car again 2019. There's just so many people that support me. Daryl Quinlan and Ashley Nicholson. Daryl races in the Beetlebugs, but then also races in the Street Devils, which is now going to be a full-time division on Thursday nights in 2019. Ashley obviously races the Street Devils. Won her first race this past year in the division. Was really cool seeing her wheel it to a checkered flag. I'm sure we'll be on their car again in 2019. Mike Nicholson, Ashley's dad, races at Lee. Not every race, but at the car every now and then. Mike, again, the entire Nicholson family, huge supporters of Chasing and Checkered, and it does not go unappreciated. And it also Chris Foster and Addie up at Oxford. And another two big supporters that kind of support Chasing and Checkered, even though I'm not at Oxford all that often, mostly for past events or on off weekend events. But those two have been really great supporters of the website. Both have stickers on their car, have my t-shirts. They support them sometimes. So you know what? They'll have stickers again for 2019. And then John Peters, he co-hosted Mainly Motorsports with me. Once when Steve was out of town. John's a really great guy. Been following him. He had a wicked race at Wiscasset last year, and he had to completely rebuild the car. Came back a few weeks later, and he has been on fire since. Consistent finishes in the past series. They just ran the past program this past season, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in 2019. And I know it's obviously not everyone whose car I'm on. Like I said, I give out a lot of stickers. Oh yeah, Louis Anderson too. Shout out to the Dirty Lou. Of course, Dirty Lou is awesome. Huge part of the Mainly Motorsports family, as well as Brick Ramsey. Those two drivers, like I said, just have a love for racing. Don't exactly have the biggest budgets, but somehow make it work with a little budget. Lou is great. He'd take off his shirt off his back to help anyone. And he's just a great guy. Brick too, he can wheel his Mad Bomber like no other. Always consistently up front. And they both shared a car this past season at Lee in one of their divisions, and that was cool. Didn't exactly have the best season, but they sure as hell tried their hardest. And those two are really great supporters as well. So like I said, I have so many people. I'm incredibly overwhelmed by the amount of support and love Chasing and Checkered has gotten. Even drivers that I'm not exactly on their car, like Travis Benjamin, who maybe we'll work out something where we can get a sticker on a car for 2019 if he'd like, have shown a lot of support for Chasing and Checkered and just what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, the website, like I said, I don't make much money off of it. I have a few website sponsorships, but that kind of just helps me pay for operating costs of keeping a website running. But it's not about the income that I make from the website. It's about being able to shed some of these drivers in a bigger light, make them feel special. Like Chris said, it makes us little guys feel relevant. And to me, like, these guys are relevant each and every week they go out there and compete, putting their hard-earned money and time into these race cars. But just making them feel special, giving everybody something to look at, like once the race weekend's over, kind of see a race through someone else's is really important to me. I love what I do. Like I said, it's just hard financially. You can't really sponsor everyone even though you want to, but the option is always out there to just, kind of throw a sticker on your car if you'd like. Um, if any driver is interested and I didn't have a sticker on their car this past season, just reach out to me. I'm going to be making a bigger order this season. I kind of feel bad because last season I ran out of stickers before the end of the season. This season was the same, just because of the overwhelming support I had from everyone. I'll probably be putting on Facebook asking anybody if they want a sticker for their car. Just reach out to me. I'll try my best to make it happen. I really will. I'll try my best. Um, and we'll make it come to fruition. But I just want to say, like, I'm so excited for 2019. This amount of support that I've gotten from drivers, teams, fans, etc., has been astounding. And Chasing the Checker just keeps growing with every year. I think this past season, I was trying really hard to get to like 300 likes on the Facebook, and it took me a while. It took me months to get there. And all of a sudden, we reached 300 this season, and then we reached 500 this past season, and now we're over 600 likes. And I think maybe my goal for next season is to get to 1,000. Kind of set your goals high. But I'll be excited to see how much it grows in 2019. Like I said, if you don't have a Chasing the Checkers car sticker on your car and you want one, just me and we'll try to make it happen. Like I said, not really a huge budget, but somehow I make it work. So yeah, thank you to all the teams that have supported the website. It's been quite a journey so far. And like I said, I'm just really proud of the drivers that I support. I'm just really proud of everyone in Maine Racing as a whole, keeping it going and just bringing that life back to the sport. Um, and 2019, it's gonna be even bigger. It's gonna be even better. So yeah, if you want a sticker, just let me know and we'll make it happen. All right. So that's all for this week. I'm not sure what we're gonna talk about next week yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. But yeah, thank you for everyone that's been tuning in these past few weeks. Like I said, it's awesome to let you guys know a little bit more about my life behind the scenes, more than what you just see on the TV or on the Facebook. So it's been fun so far, and I plan to keep making these videos and share my life with y'all. So, all right, like I said, thank you everyone, and I'll see you next week.